Would you raise your right hand, sir? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Charles, now we're here today so that you can tell us a little bit about what happened when you were younger, about 12, 13 years old, and it involved Curtis Hanson. My first question for you is, when was the first time that you were asked about being molested?
When I got removed from the home, I believe I was 11 years old. I can't quite remember the date, you know.
And who was asking you?
Don Manhall.
And what was he saying to you?
He tried to accuse my dad for molesting us. And then when he couldn't get me to admit to that or any of my brothers, he started asking if there was anybody else living in the home. And we said, yeah, Scotty, which is Curtis. So as soon as he found out that, he instantly started, you know, taking shots. Well, if it wasn't your dad, it had to be him. Kids don't just act this way without something being wrong with them. So eventually, I guess he talked to my brothers. I never admitted to it, you know, and they said it happened. And
Now, Charles, why was Scotty Curtis living with you?
because my grandma, my dad's mom, adopted him. She passed away, so he come and live with my dad and us.
Okay. And Don Manhall said that children didn't just act this
No.
way. What were you doing that made him say that?
Playing hooky from school, running away, not coming home after playing hooky from school, staying out. That's basically it.
And was it this type of behavior that was the initial action that caused Don Manhall to come into your home?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was Don Manhall?
He was a DFS worker.
And was he assigned to your case and your brother's?
Yes.
Okay. After that first time, when you told Don Manhall that you weren't molested, did he ever ask you about it again?
Oh, yeah. Every time that I've had contact with him, you know, he would ask me, well, your brothers, you know, said this, and we know what happened to you because they said they'd seen it happen to you, you know, and I constantly denied it, you know. I mean...
Do you remember about how many times Don asked you about being molested?
About 10 altogether.
Yes.
I mean, throughout the whole time, probably about 10 times.
And do you remember when the last time was that you spoke to Don Manhall?
I was no longer in custody of the Division of Family Services, but my brother's wasn't. He was dropping my brother Jason off for a home visit, and I believe it was in '94, and he asked me about the molestation then.
And is it your understanding that all the criminal proceedings
Was already over. I thought that Scotty was already, you know, they already done what they was going to do to him. I didn't see no reason why he would ask me about that even then, you know.
And you were back in the home at this
Right.
time. When you were taken out of the home and you were questioned by Don Manhall, do you remember, was there ever anyone else around when Don Manhall was talking to you about being molested?
On one occasion there was, I believe it was Lee Polite, and then we went into a room with a bunch of people, you know.
And do you know where this meeting took place?
I believe it was somewhere in the city. I mean, I don't remember exactly where it was. I believe I was probably about 12, you know.
So all of the other times, the about 9 times that Don talked to you about
We
being
was alone.
molested?
We was alone. He would pick me up from a juvenile facility. We'd go for a ride in his car usually, and that's when the questioning would start.
So you were usually in the car alone?
Yeah.
With him. Do you remember if Don ever tried to bribe you or encourage you to say you were molested?
He would tell us in so many words that if we would help him help us get home, this is the way. If we would just tell him what he needs to know, we would be able to go home with our family, you know. Basically saying if we said what he wanted us to say, that we would get home faster than denying that something was wrong with us.
So was it your understanding that if you just admitted to being molested, you could go home?
That I can go home.
Were you ever offered anything else in exchange for saying you were molested?
The day of the meeting with everybody, with the blackboard and everything, we got envelopes with money. I mean, they didn't say this is for saying what you said, but obviously we didn't get the money or the envelope until after that. You know, right after that meeting, we got white envelopes. All of it had money in it. And then shortly thereafter, we went shopping for clothes.
And by we, who is we?
My brothers, Jason, my brother Quentin.
All 3 of you
All
got
3
money?
of us. Oh, yeah.
Do you remember about how much money you got?
No. I don't.
Do you remember ever being able to talk to your brothers
No.
about what happened?
After that meeting, that day, I didn't see my brothers until 3 to 4 years later, when I finally got released from DFS and they started coming home on vacations, and then I got to see them.
At that meeting, what did you tell the people who were in the room?
I don't quite remember word for word what I said. I remember telling them that it didn't happen. I remember, just totally denying. I was kind of in shock that they were saying him, because my brothers was telling me at the time that it happened. And I was like, well, I'm the one with Curtis all the time when we was kids. I spent the most time with him. Why wouldn't it happen to me? So I was in denial the whole time that it didn't happen to me.
Charles, in relation to your brothers, are you the oldest, the youngest?
I'm the oldest boy.
Okay, and about how much older than?
A year older than Jason and 2 years older than Clinton.
Okay. Do you ever remember admitting that you were molested by
No.
Charles, or by Curtis?
No, ma'am.
Do you ever remember admitting that you were molested at all?
No, ma'am.
During these conversations with Don Manhall, what was his response to you when you would tell him that you were not molested?
He would try to say, I'm just holding it into myself. I need to open up, and then eventually said I was crazy and put me in a crazy hospital.
Is it fair to say that Don clearly didn't believe you?
Yeah, he didn't believe me at all.
Throughout this time, were you ever allowed to talk to your parents?
No.
Do you ever remember telling anyone else that you were not molested?
Everybody was asking me. Lee Polite. I had one time, I can't remember the guy's name, but I was in Boys Town in St. James, Missouri. A counselor apparently talked to Manhall, and he was questioning me about it. And I told him no. I believe his name was Scott, can't remember his last name, but he worked at a place called Boys Town in St. James, Missouri. He asked me, and I told him no.
Did these people ever offer you anything in exchange for saying that you were molested?
No, ma'am.
Do you know if Don Manhall offered your brothers the same bribe, that they could go home if they would just admit being
Oh yeah, I
molested?
know he offered them the same as he offered me, that if we would just give him what he needed to help us get home, saying that this happened, this would be our way to get home, this would explain some of our behavior.
Now, Charles, I know that you said that you never admitted being molested. Do you think you were treated any differently by Don Manhall as a result?
Yeah, I got to where my brothers got to go to, foster homes where, it wasn't home, but it was like home. You had a family, I didn't get that. I went to Boys Town, group homes, locked down most of the time, way away from home to where I couldn't have contact with my mom. And if I wanted to write my parents, I had to write the letter, send it to Manhall, let him read it before he sent it to my parents.
Do you know if your brothers, Jason and Clinton, were allowed to see your parents?
I believe they was.
And throughout this time you weren't?
No.
Now, after the criminal proceedings ended, you indicated that you were still questioned by Don Manhall.
Yes. And once in '94, I was already out of DFS custody. He come to drop my brother Jason off for a home visit. And when he seen me, he asked me, are you still saying you're not been molested? Well, your brothers still say you have been, and whatever. I don't remember the whole conversation because it's been some years, but yeah, he was still questioning me about it in '94.
And how old were you at that time?
15 or 16. I was living with Scotty at the time. I just moved from Scotty's back to my mom's at that time.
So would it be fair to say it was about 4 or 5 years after?
After the fact, yes.
Okay. Do you remember how old they say you were when the alleged molestation occurred?
Probably 6.
6, the original time?
Yeah.
I know the police report indicated a different date than the later court papers. According to the later court papers, about how old would you have been at the time of the molestation?
The court papers, what did I say, 82?
I believe the court papers were about 3 years later than the originals.
So 85, and then 10, 11.
10 or 11. Okay. Were you ever with your brothers when they were being questioned by Don Manhall?
Yes.
Do you remember what your brothers said?
I remember the one time I can remember the most is when we was in the room with all the people, and the reason that's in my mind is because there was a bunch of people there. and it was a blackboard. They, at that time, they were saying it happened, that Scotty, you know, molested him.
Have you had contact with your brothers since that time?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know if they still maintain that they were molested?
They said whatever they could to get home.
So is it your understanding that your brothers, Jason and Clinton, were not molested?
No, they wasn't molested.
Okay. Charles, can you ever remember any time where you admitted that you were molested by anyone?
No, ma'am.
Were you ever molested by anyone?
No, ma'am.
Were you ever molested by Curtis Hanson?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Going off the record approximately 10:31 a.m.